Who are you?
I'm Harry Vanderspiegel. I'm a doctor. You don't have anything to worry about. I'm not an alien.
All right, look, that's one creepy son of a bitch, right?
It's okay for people to be a little bit different sometimes.
This is some bullshit.
Well, hello, everyone. It is not Wednesday today. It is Thursday, but this is still Dark Horse Comics, and we are still here to bring you the new comic book day, new comic bro day rundown. I have plenty of special guests here that I'm very excited to introduce. We have the creators of two new comics that are out this week, available at comic shops now. If you've already got your copies at home, you can read along while we talk. Otherwise, go to your comic shops this week and pick up The Worst Dudes, issue number 1, and also Jenny Zero, issue number 2. I am Kara. I work at Dark Horse, and to just kind of kick things off, let's first say hello to my coworker at Dark Horse, Brett Israel. Hello, Brett.
Hello.
So, Brett, what can you tell us about your role at Dark Horse and on these comics?
I'm an editor here. I'm the editor on both of these titles, as well as just lots of other stuff that is all over the place. Art books, YA books. These are not YA books, so, you know.
I mean, they could be, I guess, but
I'm not going to recommend that.
I wanted to ask you like what your dream comic would be, because I'm pretty sure it involves Gritty that you could edit for Dark Horse, but we can get into that in a bit. Also with us, first I want to introduce the Worst Dudes team. So let's say hello to Aubrey and to Tony. Would you two like to say hi and tell folks what your role is on the comics?
Hey, Kara, I'm Aubrey Sitterson. I am the writer of The Worst Dudes, the book so dirty it'll turn your other comics yellow. Issue 1 in stores right now. I'm also the writer with my co-creator, Jed Doherty of Savage Hearts, which is a jungle fantasy rom-com launching next month from Dark Horse Comics, as well as No One Left to Fight, which the volume 1 trade paperback is also available in stores right now. And that's with Fico Ossio, my co-creator on that.
The comic you always wanted.
That's what everybody tells me, man.
Yeah. Well, hello, Tony.
Hi, how you doing, Kara?
What else? Tell us what you do on The Worst Dudes.
I am the artist and co-creator of The Worst Dudes with Mr. Aubrey Sitterson, and I'm one of the guys who helped make that comic turn your other comics yellow.
Well, thank you guys for joining us.
That's what happened really to Tony's exciting shirt, by the way. Yeah. Also, they used to be white.
Yeah.
Coincidental color choice.
Tony, to reference Dark Horse, you're that yellow bastard. I like it.
Oh.
This shirt is actually from my friend Layla Del Duca's comic Shutter.
Oh, nice.
Right on.
You can see
Layla.
It's yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to pop over and look in the chat and see if sometimes we have local folks joining us, and maybe if Layla watches today and wants to say hi, I'll relay that the message to everybody. We do also have a comic series with Layla right now, so that's pretty cool. Local connections. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Congratulations on The Worst Dudes being in the world at last. Issue number 1, like we said, out this week. We're going to call it some comic shops in a minute, but first, let me introduce our other guests. Welcome back, in fact, to Dave and Brockton from the Jenny Zero comics. You guys want to say a hello and reintroduce yourselves and let them know what you do on Jenny Zero.
Sure. I'm Dave Dewanch. I'm the co-writer and co-creator of Jenny Zero. I've done a bunch of indie books in the past, and this is like my big book with my best BFF, Brockton.
I'm said BFF and a co-creator and co-writer, Brockton McKinney, for Jenny Zero from Dark Horse. And very excited to be back on here, Kara. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We had a great chat last time around. Dave, you had to run to go to a signing.
I did.
Which is pretty cool for Jenny Zero issue number 1. So happy to have you back so we can just have a little bit longer chat this time.
For sure.
Brockton, you did not call out that you are also apparently the best grandpa ever.
I am the best grandfather ever. That is true. That is true. My daughter got me this as a joke, and I was like, I'll show you a joke. I'll wear it on the Dark Horse. Put it out there, and hopefully your friends will see it. See how you feel about it.
Were they out of best dad ever shirts or?
This was very specific. She was like, "Oh, you're getting pretty old man." You know? So she was like, "Are you my grandfather now?" We like to riff on each other pretty hard. So
it feels like you need to teach your daughter the birds and the bees because she should know the answer to that question, right?
Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean, we'll also call each other a Bigfoot or something. So it's like, you know.
Well, thank you all again for joining us. Like I said, these are the creators of 2 comics that are new this week that you can get at comic shops. The Worst Dudes, issue number 1, and Jenny Zero, issues 1 and 2, you can pick up. And really quick, just a couple things about the stream before we get into a discussion of those comics. We have a giveaway. You can enter to win a copy of both Jenny Zero, issue 2, and The Worst Dudes, issue number 1. The giveaway keyword that you can type in the chat, if you're in the live stream chat right now, is Space Cat, all one word, all lowercase. Space Cat. Why? Because Aubrey seems to have a theme in his comics of cats in space.
Space cats.
Space cat. So, and I like space cats, as we will probably discuss in a bit. So space cat is the keyword. Enter it once, you will be counted, and we will draw a winner near the end of the stream. So stay tuned. Reminder of chat rules, basically be excellent to each other. Be cool. You can ask questions of our guests today. Anybody here, any comics we're discussing, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and our moderators will pass those on so we can answer them for you as best we can. And that's about it for stream info. Just a quick reminder, like I said, these comics we're talking about are out today. Comicshoplocator.com is a great tool if you need help finding a shop near you. Many also offer ordering online options, which may be helpful, especially as we're still kind of in pandemic social distancing type things. But I like to ask our guests if you have any local comic shops that you especially want to shout out. Maybe you have some signed comics at one of said shops. I don't know. Maybe let's start with the Worst Dudes team.
Yeah, my favorite shop. It's a local. I'm in Los Angeles, and I love Collector's Paradise. They've actually got 3 different shops here in Los Angeles now. And on Tuesday afternoon, while they were scrambling to get all their books for the week sorted and in the right places in only one day, because it was a shortened holiday week, I went over and I signed a bunch of copies of The Worst Dudes, and you can order them at comicsandcards.net. Making that strong SEO play. Collector's Paradise is. But yeah, man, I love Collector's Paradise. They've got signed copies of all my books, including The Worst Dudes. And you can pre-order Savage Hearts while you're there. Get your No One Left to Fight graphic novel, all of it. Buy all of my books right now.
One-stop shop.
Do it.
I've never been more compelled to do anything in my life, Aubrey.
I need you specifically, Dave.
I booked a flight.
I was feeling a little like Randy Savage coming through there, actually. Do it. How about you, Tony? Do you have any shops you would like to recommend?
Sure. I'm based here in Missoula, Montana, and our local shop is Muse Comics and Games. I run by my good friend Jason, and I was there yesterday signing copies of number 1, and I also signed a bunch of copies of Leave Behind. So if anybody wants to contact them, I don't know if they ship to folks, but Jason is very accommodating and he might be willing to help you out. And also I'd like to shout out Tate's Comics in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, my hometown. That was my shop when I was living down there, and Tate's is one of the greatest comic shops in the universe, and that needs to be stated. So
love it. Oh wait, it looks like Layla may be watching. So hi Layla, if you are out there.
What's up, Layla? What's up, buddy?
Hey. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I know you probably shouted out a couple last time, but Dave and Brockton, do you have some shops you want to highlight today?
Yeah, since we're recording on Thursday, I was able to go by I Want More Comics in Thornton, Colorado yesterday and sign a bunch. I'm going to head over to Time Warp in Boulder and Vision Comics out here tomorrow and just drop by and sign some stuff. I'm just going to go in and bomb with a Sharpie all over their building. It's going to be great. But those are my 3 favorite shops in the area. Brockton, what do you got?
Ultimate Comics in NC. And I am going to be signing books for them for their live show next Tuesday. So they've got 3 shops in North Carolina, and they have a live show they do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I believe. And so you can just, if you can't make it to the store, you can just go on their live show on Facebook and purchase them. And I'm going to sign them up. And I'm actually going to do the show so that people can say like, oh, I want it signed to my grandmother, you know. Not that that's ever happened, but like it could happen. It's possible. So.
Well, now you might have to sign things best grandpa ever.
Yes,
Actually.
From the grandma from the best grandpa. Definitely.
Right?
So creepy. Thanks for last night, best grandma.
Might start doing that anyway, even people not asking me.
I'm gonna call in. I'm gonna request that actually now.
Yes, please.
Can you make this out to Rec from the best grandpa ever? Brett, what about you? Do you have any local shops that you want to call out, even though we are both in the same local area?
Yeah, so I always call out Cosmic Monkey books with pictures, Floating World. So I'm just gonna briefly say that those exist.
Yeah,
and they're all great. But also, if you're in Philadelphia, there's a store called Brave New World. That's my hometown store. So you should go there. They're great. Old City. Awesome.
Love it. Mixing it up this time. Yeah, we should probably like let books with pictures know that we shout them out so much.
Literally.
Pretty much every week. They're great. We have lots of good shops here actually in the Portland metro area, so that is very fortunate for us. TFAW, which stands for Things from Another World, is another one of our locals that carries every Dark Horse comic. So if you are looking for anything we talk about today, you can also order from them online. Well, that's about it for our little intro spiel. Reminder, giveaway is open now. Keyword is Space Cat, all one word, all lowercase. Enter it once and you're entered to win the comics we're going to talk about. And we'll draw a winner near the end of the show today. So without further ado, let's talk about the worst dudes to start.
Yeah.
What makes them the worst dudes? Can you guys give us the little elevator pitch of what this series is all about?
Sure, Tony, do you want to do it or do you want me to?
Man, you're the showman.
All right, man, listen, I'm just trying to be polite. Worst Dudes is about, as the title tells you, the absolute worst guys in the galaxy. You got Sam Sugar, who is a corrupt policeman on the take, space cop. You have Caligula Monomacho, who is a space cat and a former backup dancer, and just a humongous lecherous, gluttonous heathen. He's just a mess. And then, perhaps worst of all, that most loathsome thing, the most awful thing you could possibly imagine, an angsty teenage boy. And that's Bang Monsoon, who is the son of the Storm King and the Eternal Empress. He's an angsty little godling, and the 3 of them are on a hunt for Bang's half sister and Caligula Monomacho, Cal. We'll just use Cal moving forward. Cal's ex-wife, the pop star, the half god pop star Zephyr Monsoon, and it is a raunchy sci-fi romp of a detective story, and Tony and I worked very hard to load it up with as much odious, disgusting, abhorrent behavior as possible, and I think we filled in all the edges. There might be a couple corners we missed, but
yeah, I agree with that.
I got a few issues to go though.
Yeah. We gotta leave room to grow.
I was gonna ask you how you came up with the title, and then I was like, oh, you just told me how you came up with the title. You just wanted the worst dudes. In this book.
I was looking back through my original email to Tony about like where I kind of like laid out the idea, and the email was called Dirtbags in Space.
Yeah, it was like Space Dirtbags or something.
Yeah, which is proof that your first idea isn't always the best one. And we ended up with Worst Dudes because it is obvious.
Yeah,
It's
we just started
exactly
referencing them as the Worst Dudes. And I think it just like we're like, you know what, that's a great title.
Yeah.
Let's just roll with that.
Oh, I love. Okay, really quick from the chat. This is a great comment. All of you dudes, it's sort of the evolution of beards.
It's totally true.
That's Shelter at Home, man.
Yeah, mine was really long up until recently because it was winter, but it's warming up, so I trimmed it down. But it was at Dave's level a couple weeks ago.
And I've been growing mine for 6 years.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. You're Patches McGee over there. Like you can't grow a full beard to
This
save
is
your
it.
life.
This is all you're
At
getting.
gunpoint, there's the spot missing, and you're dead.
Yeah,
And there's
that's it.
no holding that guy beard hostage.
I know. I know.
You should see his back though.
Oh,
It's
Back.
impressive.
Oh,
Nothing but fun.
all I got is the quarantine hair. It's been growing for a while now. As
Yeah, I
Brett can
like it.
attest.
Yeah.
Jealous. You and Brett
Ugh.
and Aubrey.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we've talked about, the biggest hair in comics before, because even when it was shorter, it was still pretty large. And so, yeah, next time we all see each other in person at a convention again someday, we're going to have to headbang or something.
We can
'Cause
share conditioner tips.
we can. Yeah. Curly hair tips. I'm always down for that. Well, beards and hair aside, the Worst Dudes has begun. So how did this, can you tell us a little bit more before we switch gears and kind of talk about what's happening in the new episode of Jenny Zero this week? Aubrey and Tony, can you tell us a bit more about like how this idea came together? How did you decide to run with this? And Brett, what on earth made you decide that you wanted to be associated with this?
Can we start? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it, Tony.
Yeah, I think because I myself as well went back into our DMs to kind of like revisit the genesis of the book recently, and Aubrey had reached out to me in like mid 2018 about working on something, and I was down because I was a fan of his work and of him in general, and we kind of kicked around ideas, and he asked me what I was vibing on and what I wanted to draw, and I was just really into New Gods at the time. And I told him that, and of course Aubrey's always into New Gods.
Always.
So always, yeah. And then we kind of kicked around ideas for some stories, and until he hit me up, he's like, "All right, I got this idea, a Shaggy Dog mystery set around these three dudes, basically like a sci-fi road trip." And we just started riffing and coming up with ideas. And then Aubrey went off and made this amazing script and came back with it. And I was like, "All right, this is the journey." And
It really started, I think, from a place of Tony and I having very, I don't know, like we find a lot of different things funny, but we also really enjoy kind of puerile, raunchy, vulgar material. And that's something that I grew up really loving, whether, like old Lobo stuff or, man, I was thrilled when somebody called out Ralph Snart Adventures in their interview with Tony, because that was a favorite of mine, man. I love that stuff. And, comics, for many, many years now, for decades, comics has been struggling to shed this idea of like, comics are like ephemeral trash, or these are just like pamphlets to be discarded, and these are things to be ashamed of reading. And that's great. And I love, I love like smart, intellectual, academic comics as much as everybody else. But man, I also like something dirty and raunchy and funny. And that's really what we set out to do with the Worst Dudes. And of course it's about stuff, right there. And I don't want to spoil things, but like there's more going on than just these vulgar, nasty jokes. But that really was kind of the starting point for this thing, is finding a way to kind of capture that feel of the comic that you need to hide from your mom, that you cannot let your mom know that you're reading this thing.
Yeah.
And that's been kind
there's
of the
definitely
guiding.
some charm to it too. And there's also like, I don't want to get high-minded, but there's some low-key intelligence to it that,
That's
Yeah, I
my
was
favorite
about to
kind of
say-
intelligence, low-key intelligence.
Yeah.
But it is really smartly made, guys. I
Thanks,
thoroughly
man.
enjoyed it. And if you can read it on surface level and you could dive deep into it. And the way that Tony designed a lot of those characters, I'm seeing like references of things that I know and I like. And I was going to ask you who your influence was too, but it's Kirby, right? I mean, it's got to be a lot of
that,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in like 90s, I'm a 90s kid, so like Euclid, he's basically like a Mega Red. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a Mega Red, but like I always loved the design of that character and the vibe of that character. I'm like, all right, I want to riff on that. So, things like that, I definitely cherry pick from my adolescence quite a bit.
It's super well designed. Like everything just pops off the page. It's crazy. I love it.
Thanks. So that was Aubrey, and well, I can't take sole credit for it. Aubrey and I definitely collaborated. I would say 50-50.
And the
some of
colors,
the ideas are in the script, and some of the ideas were mine. Some of them we came up with together. It's complete 50-50.
and Laverne's colored some of your other stuff too, Aubrey, right?
He's actually coloring Savage Hearts, which is out next month. The jungle fantasy rom-com from Dark Horse Comics. I already did that.
Will there be Space Cat?
Well, listen, I don't want to spoil anything. But it is written by me. So the thing that's really exciting about having Laverne on the book, outside of the fact that he's tremendous and he does like this really, what I love about what Laverne does is it's storytelling based coloring. Right? Like it's not just about creating a beautiful panel or a beautiful page or, or keeping things like literal color choices. He does a lot of expressionistic type stuff with the backgrounds and lighting and things like that. And he really engages with the script in a way that I find powerful and really fun as a writer, because I can actually call out specific moments for Laverne to really just put some stank on it. That's the technical term. But the other thing that's really great about Lover being involved with this is a big touchstone for Tony and I with the Worst Dudes. Of course, if you look at this thing for even a few minutes, you have to recognize it, is Lobo. Classic Lobo stories, classic Keith Giffen, Alan Grant, Simon Bisley, Lobo stuff. And guess who colored all of that? Lover. So to have that pedigree on the Worst Dudes really means a lot to me, honestly. It was a really exciting thing for me.
That is very cool. I love seeing things like that come full circle. So Brett, what are your thoughts on the Worst Dudes? How did this fit into your overall your list of books at Dark Horse?
Well, I'm trying to remember back. So I think the first time that Aubrey reached out and sent me the pitch materials for this, I kind of sat with it for a day, and I'm like, because like it is truly, there's not another book that exists kind of like it. So I was like, what is just trying to absorb everything, because it's a lot. It's just, so I think I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but I was really drawn into specifically Tony's character design, like Dave, like you mentioned, but also the parallels between this and Lobo, as already mentioned, are pretty clear. But I think it's really interesting, get a little comic scholarly a little bit, but like Lobo is kind of like the 80s logical extension of Comics with an X, like Crumb-ish underground, even though it's not really underground. And this is kind of a response to that, being a response to that. It's like it's through a modern lens, but also through a lens that is you can publish through Diamond, like it can be distributed through Diamond, if that makes sense. So it doesn't have to just run in like head shops in San Francisco like Crumb stuff did. So that kind of idea really excited me, even though that's extremely heady. I'm sorry, everyone. So
I love it. It makes us sound smart. It's great.
Yeah, I like that.
I like to imagine you pitching this in costing to like Dave and Mike and trying to see Brett describe this series to people. Yeah.
Hey Aubrey, would you ever want to write a Lobo comic, or is that something that you would kick around? Just out of
man, they have to
curiosity.
back up the Brakes truck and or give me as much freedom as Dark Horse gives me.
Yeah, fair.
Because I don't know, why would I want to, man? I can write Caligula Mono Macho, giant pink space cat.
That's totally fair. I just didn't know if it was a dream. You know what I mean? If there's a character that you're like, oh man, that's the one.
Man, my dream has always been telling weird stories in comics. And when you're doing it on your own, not on your own, because obviously everybody
They're collaborative.
Dark Horse is involved with this, but when you are doing it at a place like Dark Horse that provides you so much freedom, like I don't know, I don't get the desire to go do the same thing, but with like more shackles for work for hire. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Pay me enough money, I'll write anything. But
you get that, you're gonna get like it's like
but if we're talking about like my childhood dream, it was doing this, man. It was doing weird ass story. I try not to work blue when I'm on these things. Weird but stories with awesome guys like Tony.
They would literally have to create a whole special like extra black label Lobo for you to do it. It would have to be like beyond.
It wouldn't work. It certainly wouldn't work the same way as Worst Dudes does. Especially the first page of Worst Dudes too. Don't spoil it for them.
Oh yeah. By the way, thank you for sending that my way. I read the first issue and was like, I'm not going to read the second issue because I want to buy it and read it and experience it month to month. And then I got through the first issue and I was like, oh, he sent me that second issue. I got to try it. And then that first page just blasts you right in the face. I'm like, power through. Let's go. Yeah, it was great, man.
Very aggressive. Someone's like, oh, there's not a lot of, I won't say what, but there's not a lot of this in the first issue. I'm like, oh, wait, in the second issue, you're going to get it right in your face in the first page. So.
Yeah. Okay,
The Worst Dudes is the book that gives it to you right in your face. Let's use that as a quote moving forward.
I can't wait to dive into this more, and I think it's fun having you guys all here today because not only do you have you kind of know each other a little bit, but also I think there are a lot of fun similarities between the two books that I can't wait to get into. So can the Jenny Zero team tell us where does Jenny Zero issue 2 pick up? What is Jenny doing in this episode?
Brockton.
Okay, well, it starts. Here we go. It starts out with a flashback actually that is showing Jenny's dad, Mega Commander Zero, who we had a lot of questions about from that first issue. People were saying like, oh, we didn't get to see Mega Commander Zero, so we really wanted to play into that and show some of the who he was and what happened to him. And so we do a whole big thing with that. So if you're interested in that, that's there. We jump right back into the present with Jenny in the middle of this giant fight that she's just gotten into with the monsters. And we had people asking us, well, what happened to Nemo, the gun? Well, yeah, it's all there. It all pays off. We've got the introduction. We get to see some flashback stuff with Dana and Jenny, these two best friends, how they originally met. And that brings in the dog, Sammy Davis Jr., who is based on the real life dog that's right behind me, sleeping on the couch. So yeah, so that's in there. And that whole scene is like one of my favorite scenes of issue 2 when they meet, not to give too much away, but it's her father's funeral and they meet at the funeral or whatever. And Dana ends up taking the dog outside because they can't have the dogs inside. And that actually happened to me and one of my friends, one of my childhood friends at his father's funeral, and I took the dog out. So we were really basing it on some real stuff. Now the conversations are completely different and those are based on other friendships and other people, but I love those moments. And it's one of my favorite parts of issue 2.
Yeah, issue 2 is one of my faves. I mean, I really, really love 2 and 3 together. So come back for number 3 next month. But it really is like we present this like almost rotten onion in the first issue, and then we start peeling it back a little bit and showing you why it smells so funky. And and I like that's a lot of the fun for me is we dropped everyone in the meat grinder in the first issue and just said go with it. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And it felt like a bit of a risk to do it that way, but then full well knowing what we were going to do in 2 and 3 to bring it full circle and flesh everything out. Yeah, it's my fave. I love it. I love the flashbacks with Jenny and Dana where they first meet. It's just so quiet and touching, and then just sets the tone for the rest of the series and their friendship. I just love it,
dude. I think it works because of that twist, man. That twist is like the reveal. That twist is so good, and the reveal is so the reason that kind of steady-handed approach on that first issue works so well is because you have such a strong twist. And the reason you have such a strong twist is because of that steady-handed approach. It's a really well-crafted first issue.
I don't know.
Is that- I
I
have a
don't know if
question.
I would have. Oh, go for it.
Is that a Tricera Cyclops in the first issue?
Oh yeah. The monster.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We basically described like ideas for monsters to Magenta King, and then he would just come back with these, and we'd be like, "Well, that's even better. That's amazing." Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah.
you never knew exactly what you were gonna get.
Yeah,
That
like
was
we said
genius.
early
That's
on, like
amazing.
we found him on Instagram. I just typed in the search thing. I think I typed in monsters or kaiju and monsters, and he popped up to the top, and that's how we found him, because he's just got this thing. He's just amazing at drawing creatures. We didn't really know if he'd ever done sequential stuff before that. He was doing a lot of prints and pinups and stuff like that, covers. But yeah, he just knocked it out of the park. He was like a super find.
It was great. Loved it.
Super team. So both of these comics have some pretty fantastic creatures. My question to you all is, do you think any of these characters would get along? Like if Jenny met, say, Caligula, like would that explode? Like what's going to happen?
I think it depends on what time of day or day of the week it is for Jenny, because I think that they would definitely party together, and she may or may not wake up with him in the morning. It would definitely be. I mean, that would probably be the intent at 3 or 4 in the morning with both of them.
She's gonna have space madness. I was like, Jenny's gonna have space madness.
I would not want to be around if the two of them were together. That is a hang I would opt out of.
Yeah, there'd be collateral damage for sure.
But I am shipping these two characters right now, guys. I'm just like, ooh, fanfic. Wouldn't it be fanfic written by the creators of the fic? It's just ridiculous.
I should have realized that this would probably result in a crossover.
Brett, get the paperwork going.
It's honestly weird because we're working on the second volume of Ginny right now, and so we can't go into what this thing is. But it's
a
does
giant
have
pink
a tie-in. It's not a giant pink cat.
Oh,
it is a space cat though. No, but it is an idea that I was like, oh shit. I mean, there is a way. So I don't know. I was like, Citizen, we got to get on the horn after this.
Dark Horse Comics universe, it's happening. It's all happening here.
You heard it here first.
I feel like Sam Sugar and Jenny would maybe butt heads, but then also like maybe there'd be some mentorship there because
that'd be a cool team up. That's a good duo. Yeah.
So I noticed one thing in the book, and it struck me as like the lettering, by the way, is fantastic. It's Taylor, right?
Oh shit, you're gonna bring it up?
Good.
I was gonna bring it up. It was like
go ahead.
Little hints. No. Just like I love the story because you guys were kind of downplaying it as like not downplaying it, but saying like it's a fun comic for fun's sake, and it definitely feels like that. But it is a great story, and it has a lot of little things that I've got to read both issues, and I was still like, there's unanswered little things that you notice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if it's
like,
too much if I say like.
Yeah, it's too much.
Like,
don't say it.
It's okay with me. It's a different font, and it's like a tagline, but does that play into something later? And you could just say yes or no. It's got to, right? It's deliberate as hell. So
are you asking for spoilers, Dave?
Yeah,
that's what it feels like he's asking for.
What's going on right now? What are you
kill
doing?
me. Just knock me out of this thing. I'll leave, guys. I'll leave.
That's a letter to you.
So
See,
what-
Dave knows lettering because Dave's a great
But
letter.
you just answered
of course
me.
he's,
Am I looking for spoilers? And so now I can say yes, there are spoilers ahead, right? I can at least say that.
Man, there's 4 more issues, baby.
I'm picking it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I got you. It's good. All right.
Taylor's amazing, and Taylor is a huge part of the Worst Dudes team. I've mentioned this in a bunch of interviews before, but Taylor letters everything I work on, and a big part of that is because not only is he a great letterer, but he knows kind of my picadillos and kind of bugaboos about lettering, and so he can kind of anticipate those. And we've gotten to the point where I can just, and I do this, like Tony and Brett will verify this, I just write Taylor magic in the script, and it just means just time for him just to cut loose and just do whatever weird thing comes to mind. And in the hands of a lesser letterer, that would be a really dangerous thing. really
Yes.
dangerous thing.
Speaking of lesser letterers, I letter Jenny Zero, and anytime I get script from Brockton, it's just littered with sound effects that have never been created or invented, and I'm just like, this guy is making me letter this. It's gonna take me an hour and a half to letter this page, dude. It's crazy.
Well, I hand drew
Yeah.
most of the sound effects in the book. I hand drew them.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
But and that was part of the allure. Like we wanted to make it we wanted the effects to look hand drawn or to be hand drawn, and then let Taylor do all the actual dialogue and
Like the in balloon stuff, which there's a lot of.
there's a lot of yeah.
You know,
And
there's
like
a lot of-
the way you guys emphasize words in it is different than anything I've seen in it. Well, like I've never seen the double layered bolding on it with like pink and stuff. And I'm like, this is cool. It's like super original. And then with the coloring, it just all like pops off that page, man. It's so crazy. I've said that
so
before,
good
but
to hear.
it's awesome.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dave.
That's
Yeah.
good to hear. Thanks.
On that note, do you have any favorite sound effects from your book? And you need to verbalize it if so.
I hate all the sound effects in my book because of Brockton.
Speaking of sound effects, did you guys notice this whole room just got like super bright because there was like a thunder, like there's a storm going on, and like instead of lights going off, like every light in my office just came on.
You got supercharged. Your house
was
got
like,
struck
oh.
by lightning. Yeah.
Yes, it's like super part. No, yeah, Dave does hate the sound effects though, because I like saying your head bloosh when the head blows up, or like eyeball kickle or something like that, and he's just like, man, you made me draw this out. Come on.
Well, I hate sound effects that are like regurgitated, like from page 5 to page 10, and you have the same sound effect. And I'm like, man, it's just, if you're looking for it, it's a bit jarring, right? You don't want anyone to read through your lettering and go, that's wrong, or that's off, or whatever. You want it to almost be like a hidden art form, right? But if you start reusing like special effects like that, you're going to get dinged for it for sure. Some letterer like me is going to be like, I've seen that before 5 pages ago, bro. Step your game up,
Well, speaking of regurgitation, my favorite sound effect was Cal's vomiting in issue 1.
Was that Hork? Was it Hork?
Yeah. Hork.
That's like a Ren and Stimpy thing, man.
Yeah. Someone actually in that interview, or I don't know if it was that interview with the Ralph reference, but someone mentioned the Ren and Stimpy influence in the book. I was like,
It's definitely there. From both of us, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I actually hadn't thought about that. That is solid. Yep, I see it now.
Ren and Stimpy was important formative entertainment for young Aubrey.
Yeah, same here. Powder Toast Man is my inner child.
Nice. So last time I did ask, there's a fair amount of drinking in Jenny Zero, which I think is also somewhat true in The Worst Dudes. There are a lot of vices, shall we say. So last time I asked, what was Jenny's favorite drink? Whiskey, which I fully identify with. So what are some of the favorite vices of our worst dudes? Do they have a favorite drink? And would they drink a cocktail, or are they more like slamming a beer kind of a thing?
Well, I think, Sam is rarely seen without a cigarette. He chain smokes. Sam Sugar chain smokes constantly. He also gets a drink anywhere he's able to. And I think he would also be he's a lawman. He's an old-fashioned lawman. So I'm thinking whiskey too for Sam. Caligula Monomacho will drink and snort and eat and inject and whatever you got. So it's an open book, and whatever you got for Cal. For Bang, he's underage. He's a child, so I'm thinking he's sneaking something sweet and easy, like maybe some kind of schnapps.
Yeah, when I was a young man,
cider.
my mom had a bottle of Chambord that she had underneath her underneath the microwave. And when I was like in high school, I'd come home.
I don't even know what that is. What is Chambord?
It's a grape liqueur.
Yeah,
It's a grape raspberry liqueur. I didn't know what it was when I was like 14 years old. So I'd come home and I would drink a little bit of it. And I would
A
fill
little
it back
sip?
up with water. And I would sip it every day, and I put a little bit of water in it to refill it so she wouldn't tell. Until
Oh my God.
I was so
I can't.
diluted that she finally found out what I was doing.
The
So, yeah,
answer for bag is definitely Chambord.
It is.
Borg.
Totally. I can't wait for my aging parents to find the bottle of whiskey in the back of the cabinet that's full of iced tea, because I just drank it and then put iced tea in it and shoved it back in there. My parents didn't ever really drink. At least in my teenage years, they had stopped drinking a long time before that. So I just drank about a house and home and filled it all back up with, iced tea.
It might have fermented by now.
I mean,
it might have
maybe-
been long
Oh
enough.
yeah.
Next time I'm in the Bay Area, I'll share it with you. Maybe if we go to Stockton Con again, I'll bring that bottle of iced tea, Old Crow.
Excellent.
Weird.
My parents drank wine, but they got really, really crappy wine. And so it was always in the refrigerator. And I remember the first time someone offered me wine that wasn't refrigerated, and I was like, what the hell?
What is this,
supposed to
hot
be cold?
wine?
Yeah, hot wine? You got some cubes for this, man?
Enough about vices, I suppose. So let's talk about process a little bit. You have already.
We could go on for a year and a half.
Right. So this time around with Jenny Zero, I know we talked about this last time. You had Megan Huang on the first issue for colors. So who's coloring this one?
So that's Daniel Arudamasa, who is a super accomplished artist and animator on his own. Brockton has worked with him in the past on some animated shorts, and he had colored a couple of my other projects. I want to say a couple years prior, and so we just kind of had this connection. And he is phenomenal. I think he's probably one of the most underrated artists on the planet, and he's just so quiet and humble. I don't know. He's great. Yeah. He worked on what? Did he work on American Karate with you, Brockton?
He did. He did the whole second volume of American Karate. He was the artist, and that was and the colors on that were great too. And he was able to. He's one of those guys who looked at Megan's stuff and was able to take that and make it his own thing, but still stay within that realm, so it stayed consistent between the issues. And so we were really trusting him to be able to pull that off. And Dave did a whole lot of that too, where he'd work with him and be like, try it a little bit more muted here or this. And so once he got that second issue, we pretty much cruised through the next three.
Yeah, we really did a lot of color design on that first one, where we knew that we were going to jar the reader with really quick cuts to different locations, and we wanted each one to have an identity. And so we had mapped out the color schemes throughout the first issue, so that when we did go to the second issue, we were able to kind of overlay that on top of 2 and 3. But then by the time we got to 4, we get to a lot of big action scenes, and it really does brighten up a bit and get a lot more kind of spectacular. So yeah, and Dan carried us through that for sure.
And Megan, of course, she has her own series actually going on right now at Dark Horse. So I know she's just become pretty busy. It's called Rangers of the Divide. And issue 1 is now out at comic shops. Issue 2 coming very soon. So you should check that out too.
If you got her on this with her artist, it would be like the Brady Bunch of this family of people that know each other adjacently. We've all sort of worked together and hung out.
Yes. Perhaps a future. We'll give her a call and see if she's busy or if she can join us. It's a really fun band. Yeah. I know. How many people can we fit in a Zoom call? I do call this the Brady Bunch window, by the way.
Yeah.
I wish you could kind of time it so you could look down and interact with each other's windows. But
you could put Mike Richardson in the middle, and he could be our Alice. We could just be yeah, she is just keeping us all straight.
He's 8 feet tall, so
it would just be from here, right? It would just be tie,
right? Well, I know we have so much to talk about, and we don't have all day. So let's get into music. Last time I had the Jenny Zero folks on, we chatted about music quite a bit because it was such an influence on the comics. So you did create a playlist. Folks watching at home, there are playlists now on Spotify and on the Dark Horse website, just on our homepage, or if you go to darkhorse.com/blog, it's right in there. You can see the songs they picked and why they picked them. So for the Worst Dudes team, does music influence you while you're working on the comics, or does it come up? How much does it play a role in the comics themselves? P.S. If you want to make a playlist too, you totally can.
Tony, you'll go first.
Sure. Yeah, the Worst Dudes. I definitely listen to a lot of music when I'm drawing. The Worst Dudes. I kind of started with Guns N' Roses, like Rocket Queen and Mr. Brownstone, and then I'm a huge Mac Miller fan, so I listen to a lot of like his stuff, especially like the Faces mixtape, which is like heavily influenced by his Vices that he had. Rest in peace. And then also I listen to a lot of like a lot of hip hop, like Earth Gang and Dreamville stuff. I'm vibe on that quite a bit. And I still listen to like the stuff I grew up with, like NoFX and Fugazi and stuff like that. That definitely still is in my wheelhouse. Definitely anything that has like for the Worst Dudes, is definitely anything that had like a lot of vices in the content, in the lyrics. There's a song by Mac Miller called Angel Dust that is specifically about snorting drugs that,
Unsurprisingly, I'm already seeing similarities between the playlists that we have, in fact, for Jenny Zero.
Go pull my Fugazi records out right now. I'm like, all right.
I'll tell you, dudes of a certain age really like Faith No More. That's all I'll say about our playlist. We
Faith No More. I forgot to mention that.
Faith No More reference in the first issue.
Yeah, I drew that shirt. I was definitely vibing on Faith No More that day when I drew that page, and I put the waitress in the Faith No More shirt. Definitely. That's
our first. That's our first crossover. Your playlist has Faith No More, so does ours.
Anything like Patton, Mike Patton.
Anything Patton, like
man.
Yep.
New Tomahawk's out. Got that. Yeah.
His Italian operatic pop music stuff.
Oh yeah. Me too.
All of it. Yeah.
That new Mr. Bungle.
I haven't heard it. Is it good?
It's
like a thrash record, right?
Yeah, it's like their demo, and then they got a bunch of like super group people. Like who is the drummer? The Slayer drummer's playing.
It's Dave Lombardo.
Dave Lombardo. Yeah,
Slayer and Ian from Anthrax, and
it's good.
Oh god damn, it's good. Yeah. It's good.
More playlists coming soon. I can feel it already. It's fun. It's fun having a Spotify. We've had some other playlists contributed by like Dean Ormston for Black Hammer is really good. Evan Dorkin has made some playlists. Like it's cool, I think, to actually get to listen to what you were listening to, like while you wrote it, or like what you're thinking about when you were putting the comics together. So I think it's fun. And if the Worst Dudes team would like to also make playlists, like I said, stay tuned, folks. We'll see. Brett, did you want to shout out any of the design team who worked on these issues? Going back to some of the process stuff, digital art and design, I feel like they don't get as many public shout outs, but who are our designers on these books?
Yes, so I'll do this one at a time. So for the Worst Dudes, Kathleen Barnett did like a really, really good job, I think, designing the...
It's hilarious, and it's like it's perfect keeping with the tone of the book too. It's great.
She adds a lot of the little like I don't want to say design elements because that's easy, but like the little inserts, especially in the front cover that she designed, is really cool.
The choices that she made to like for the back matter stuff, and like right there on the IFC, I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is brilliant, I love it. And she picked the exact right stuff. It was.
Yeah, she's great. I haven't worked with her as much. She's a little bit newer to Dark Horse, but everything, major kudos to Kathleen. Like, fantastic work.
Yeah. And Anne was a digital architect on Worst Dudes. Also did a great job on that. She is, I believe, also the digital architect on Jenny Zero. I'm now confirming right now. It's the same team, so it works out perfectly for me. They both did a great job on both series. Every time Kathleen sends a new round of designs for whatever title, it's always like a treat to see what she came up with.
I love the little back cover. They did the
little
pills. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's adorable.
And she did the concentric circles, which is like a lover trademark for like expressive backgrounds and stuff. It's great.
Trademark and whiskey. But I also, since we haven't had a chance to mention him yet, only in print. You have to buy the print issue to get this. And the backups of the Worst Dudes are by Rory Blank, who is like hilarious. His comics are so funny. So
Yeah, irreverent, eccentric, funny.
Just like perfectly in line with the worst dudes.
Yeah,
So.
it's like weirdo existential nihilist comics. They're very strange. And we got him to give us some of the strangest ones to put in the backups of the
Nude
worst
Wet
dudes.
Steve. I love Nude Wet Steve.
Nude Wet Steve is very good. Yeah.
Maybe we can do some little teasers now that the book is out in the world so people can like get a glimpse online and then go pick up the issue. So you can read the whole thing in print. Let's see. Again, I'm being mindful of our time because I know we all have other things we got to run off to today. Again, thank you everybody for joining us on a Thursday rather than a Wednesday to let all these dudes go do signings and things like that. We already kind of mentioned where Collector's Paradise, for example, you can get The Worst Dudes signed by Mr. Aubrey Sitterson. Are there any other projects that you're working on now or coming up soon, everybody, that you wanted to call out before we sort of wrap things up for the day?
I'm sworn to secrecy, so I've signed too many NDAs, but stuff's coming. Just keep a watch out for it.
Yeah,
it's a threat and a promise.
Yes, that's how I like to do things, Aubrey.
I've got a Kickstarter that's launching in a week or so for a OGN titled Dust Pirates with Bob France and Kevin Cuff from Metal Shark Bro fame. It is a swashbuckling pirate story with a sci-fi fantasy bent. These pirates essentially get sent to Atlantis through the Bermuda Triangle, and then they discover that it's overrun by warlords and water is scarce, and they use pirate tactics to help the native Atlanteans free themselves from their shackles. And that'll be launching in a couple weeks. And then throughout the year, I have a couple other Kickstarters that are getting launched for books I've already drawn that are create our own self-published stuff, and other stuff that in the works that I'm developing that I can't talk about.
That sounds cool. I'm already into that. After this show, I will be going to Kickstarter.
Well, 2 weeks we'll launch. We got to shoot the video still. We have a funny idea for a video that I won't spoil.
All right.
Patience, Kara. Patience.
It's good. Yeah, you gotta break me out of my Kickstarters, like backing all the dice, because like I have lots of dice now, and I should probably back something else too. So.
I just got my email for Stoned Master. I'm very excited about that.
Beef Bros.
Beef Bros.
Yeah.
Beef Bros.
I was gonna, we could chat like
I was gonna say before we leave, I was gonna make it awkward and be like, I'm a super Aubrey fan. We didn't get the time for me to gush about you prior to this, but I wanted to be like, I got both of those books. And then the tie-in with Chris Moreno, our good
you've
friend.
got all my stuff. You've got the Aubrey corner of your library. I love it.
I literally went to the Aubrey shelf in my bookcase and pulled
the Dewey Decimal Code for my section is 42069.
Fair enough. Easy to remember.
Nice.
Beef Bros. I was gonna say The Worst Dudes is kind of like a 180 from Beef Bros. Was that deliberate, Aubrey?
Yeah, kinda. Like I don't remember like the order of which these things kind of came together, but Worst Dudes is very much designed to be entirely different. As is Savage Hearts, which is coming out next month. Have I mentioned that? All these books are designed, whether we're talking about the Dark Horse stuff, including No One Left to Fight and Worst Dudes and Savage Hearts, or my Kickstarter books like Beef Bros and Stone Master. I make a real concerted effort to make sure they're all wildly different, because the fact of the matter is I love genre, not a specific genre, but just genre. and I love playing with the conventions and the tropes and idioms and other similar synonyms. I love playing with all that stuff, but I don't want to get boxed in, and I want to experiment with all these different things. So Worst Dudes was very much Beef Bros is about the best possible guys, and Worst Dudes is the opposite, and it serves a very different purpose. The book does. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm really grateful for the opportunity that Dark Horse and Brett specifically have given me to kind of pursue these very specific niche interests of mine.
I also love genre, so props to you both for
Props to all of
bringing
us.
us this gift.
One
Yeah.
prop for each. Let's go
You
around.
get a
Let's go
prop.
around. Everybody take one.
You
prop.
get a prop. So congrats to our giveaway winner. We have drawn one just now, and the winner in the chat is F8 photo. Maybe that should be Fate photo. Either way, congratulations. You have won a copy of The Worst Dudes #1 and Jenny Zero #2. We might throw in a Jenny Zero #1 too if we've got one. So congratulations to you. We'll get in touch with you after the show ends and sort out your prize shipping. But thank you everybody for joining us. I mean, really, we could chat all day. Like we could chat all day about these comics. I want to keep anybody though. So are there any other, I know we didn't really get a chance to go all the way around. Any other projects coming up that anybody wants to shout out first?
I'm putting together a band comprised of all of us called Hot Wine. And so if anybody wants to check out that album, we'll be working on it next week. So.
I call
Right on.
woodblock.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
Can I do the washboard? I'm really
Yes,
into the washboard.
washboard. It's coming
very
together.
sensual songs about love lost. It's
Yes.
hot wine, where we're just whining about
Wine. Oh, yeah. Name of the
like
album's
really
gotta be Space
explicit
Cats.
detail of past sexual experiences with exes that have broken our hearts. Very
Oh, man.
specific. Yeah.
Very specific.
We
But
sort of
fun.
like-
but still fun.
It's still
It's
fun.
still fun.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
dance to it. You can dance to it. It's good.
Yeah.
Look,
gotta
the
be.
song
It's gotta
Sarah
be.
is not about Sarah. Okay,
No.
that's like a metaphor for something else. It's fine.
Let's do it like Gorillaz style, so we have animated versions, and Billy
Yes.
Von Cats can be
You'll be the
front and
front man.
center.
You'll be the
Yeah.
front man.
Yes,
Let's do
yes,
it.
yes. I
I'm
mean,
just
the
going
name of
back
the
up
album.
Billy Von Cats. I'm gonna play
mean,
guitar.
I do think Aubrey is the best frontman with a woodblock, though, singing and with a woodblock.
Okay,
That's the
fair.
shit.
I'll take
Going
it.
for it. There it is.
I'll take the bullet. I'll do it.
No one creates a sizzle
I've been
reel
impressed.
like Aubrey. Okay, you need to be the front man, bro.
We can do some CG. Somehow it's you and Billy Von Cats singing to each other.
It's like a Paul Abdul thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kiss at
Opposites
the end.
attract.
We 100% kiss.
Yes.
You have to.
Definitely.
Spoilers. All right, so album dropping like next month. Watch
Yeah,
out.
it'll be
Hot
a
wine.
Dark Horse playlist. We'll make it a playlist.
Dark Horse Spotify premiere.
Premiering Hot Wine, their album Space Cats.
Oh wait, isn't Mega Colossus making a Jenny Zero song? Did I just spoil that? I did.
You did.
I did.
You totally did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did.
But-
That's-
But listen to Mega Colossus on our playlist, and you'll be like, "Wait, it's going to be amazing." when
Those
it happens."
dudes, yeah,
Those
they
dudes.
just sent me like I gotta send it to you. I got it yesterday, Dave. The just like the demo version of it, but it is a, I mean it is a straight up kick-ass metal song where the lyrics are stuff like "I've got Nemo on my arm," and you're like, oh, it's really about Jenny Zero. Like they're not pulling any punches. It's crashing through the city. And you're like, oh, very
can't
cool,
wait.
very cool stuff. Yeah,
You
so-
got to send that to me for sure.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
I cannot wait. But Hot Wine will take it up another notch. So
Yes.
just wait. Taking this to
Yes.
11. All right. Well, like I said, we could literally chat all day, and like I kind of want to, but I'm gonna let everybody do your thing, I guess. One final note: where can folks find each of you on social media so they can follow all your exploits?
I'm just easy. It's just my name, Dave Dewanch, at Dave Dewanch everywhere on the internet. Places I don't even want to be.
Same
Wait,
with
I'll
me.
leave that there.
Brockton McKinney. Just everything's Brockton McKinney.
I love it.
No.
That
Yeah,
makes-
ditto.
like-
Aubrey's. I'm gonna leave Tony for the end because it's complicated. Mine's also just Aubrey Sitterson. It's just my name everywhere.
Yeah, on Twitter, I'm Tony Gregori, and on Instagram, I'm Tony Gregori, but my name is spelled Toeknee, so like Tony.
Phonetic. I love it.
Yeah, it's a clever pun. So
I appreciate all of these, easy to find usernames, because sometimes, man, like I don't know who you are, like Space Lover 45. I don't.
That's me. That's also me.
That's also you.
Backup account. I should have known. Let me know if that needs to get tagged too. I'll pass it on so we get you.
That is definitely your stage name for our hot wine band, for sure.
Space Lover 45.
Space Lover 45.
Well, yeah. Instead of 45, though, I do expect that one to be 69.
Oh, I was thinking we release a 45. I think we just get a tiny little record.
Okay, fine.
And I was thinking of Colt 45. So I mean, we're like all
yeah,
pulling some great stuff in here.
Oh, listen, I didn't even realize all the things I just unlocked. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. Like I said, this is really fun and we could probably chat all day. So maybe we'll have to do it again. I'll talk with the Worst Dudes team and see if they do want to make a playlist. So stay tuned. But thank you to Jenny Zero Squad and also the Worst Dudes Squad and also editor of both squads, Brett. So thank you guys.
Noted squad editor.
Right? Squadron
And Hot Wine's drummer.
Commander. Thank you all of Hot Wine for being here today. Just a reminder, Dark Horse does stream normally on Wednesdays on New Comic Book Day, so check back next week. And a recording of this stream, should you want to watch it over and over again, because I know you do, is going to be available on our YouTube starting next week. So stay tuned. We'll share that on Dark Horse social media and let you all know. So with that, go buy some comics. Comic shops are open. Yeah. Worst Dudes, #1, and Jenny Zero issues 1 and 2 are all out now. And thank you all for joining us. I know we've got some folks watching from all over the world. So have a great rest of your day or night, whatever time it is for you.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Thank you,
Thank you
Kara.
very much.
Thank
Thanks for
you,
having us.
Kara.